Hello all. Today we'll learn about AWS Transfer Family. Before getting into the actual live demo, let me provide you the brief context about AWS Transfer Family. AWS Transfer Family is it's a AWS services that we are using to transfer the files via SFTP, FTPS or FTP. And most of the time client prefer SFTP because we know like it's a secure file transfer protocol. Now we'll understand what is the actual use case of AWS Transfer Family. In real-time projects, client don't have access to our AWS accounts or our actual S3 bucket. And even we can't expose our S3 buckets publicly or give console access because it's security or privacy concern. With this AWS transfer family, client can use SFTP tools like WinSCP to access our S3 path or S3 bucket path. So we can control the access via IAM and S3 policies. To be more precise, this AWS transfer family act as a middle layer between actually S3 bucket path and the third party SFTP applications like WinSCP. So we will learn more about this in our live demo. Let's jump into the live demo. We are in AWS console homepage. Let's search for AWS transfer family from the top left search panel. To configure AWS transfer family, we have to create a new server. Let's click on create server and choose checkbox as SFTP, which is secure file transfer protocol, and click on next. This should be service managed and keep it as publicly accessible and click on next. Now the storage service is Amazon S3 because we are mapping Amazon S3 into AWS transfer family, so hence we are going with Amazon S3 and click on next. Now we don't need to change anything here. We will keep these settings as it is. Just click on next, and now again we don't need to make any changes here. This will create a new server. Server has been created under AWS transfer family, and our next step is to create a user under the server. We can see there is no user showing it as warning. So let's click on the server and we have add user options. We can provide any username. For now I will just give it as demo user. And now next step is to choose the role and policy. Okay, and I'll just before choosing the role I will just navigate to the role IAM, and I have already created one role here. We can see here, right, this is the one SFTP user setup. So if I open this, we can see the policy. This policy says there are three actions for the S3. One is put, list and get for this bucket, which means we are setting the S3 permissions for the bucket that needs to be accessed by client through their own SFTP application. So that's why this role is required. So now I will choose this existing SFTP user setup and then select policy from IAM. So this is my policy. We can see it here as well. And if you are creating it for the very first time, then you have to go to IAM and you have to create a new role and add the policy into it. Since I have already created it, I am not going to create it one more time. And then next step is to choose the home directory. Home directory is nothing but our S3 bucket where we are mapping our S3 into AWS transfer family. So this is my bucket. And now next it is asking for enter optional folder. Before that, let's go into the S3 bucket. So this is my S3 bucket and it has two files. One is folder and one is file. And in the optional folder, I will provide this one as a optional. Okay, and then we can make this as restricted. Restricted means when any home directory is set to be restricted, your users will not be able to access anything outside of the folder, nor they will able to see the S3 bucket's folder name. Which means here when we set this SFTP user access as our home directory, then we make that checkbox as restricted. The user who is going to access this path or this S3, they cannot see this folder or data which is outside of this folder. So currently we have nature.jpg which is outside of this, and they cannot access it. They can only access up to here, whatever is there inside this folder, and they can upload their files only into this folder. Okay, I hope this concept is clear. I will make this as restricted, and the next step is to provide a SSH public key. To generate SSH public key, we can make use of command prompt, and with the help of that we will generate, and I will show you how to do that. I opened command prompt, and here we have to give the command like this, SSH keygen. Okay, once after I give this and click on enter, it will generate a SSH key into that folder. Okay, it's asking for any folder explicitly. I don't want to provide anything. If I click on enter, we don't need to provide password and all. Just click on enter. Now that key got generated under this folder. Let's navigate to this folder. Yeah, there we go. Here we can see that SSH folder, and inside this we have two files. One is file with the .pub, which means public key, and one more is private key. Now we want public key. I will just open it with the notepad. and I will copy this into your this field. Okay, we provided SSH key and we provided all other details. Now we are good to add the user. Yes, user got created successfully. Alright, now it's time to access S3 folders from SFTP applications. We have done with all the configurations now, which means from now on, if client want to upload their files or they want to see the folders or files from S3 bucket, they don't need to come here. They can do it through their own SFTP application. For that, we are using our own SFTP tool called WinSCP. Let me open this for WinSCP application. So it asks for several configuration details like host name, port number, username. We will learn each of these one by one. To connect to our S3 bucket from here, we have to provide some configuration details. In that, one is when we navigate to advanced, it asks for authentication. Here we have to provide our private key file, but we don't have private key file yet. We only have public key, and we can see this is, we know it's a private key, but it's not having its dot private key extension, right? We have to convert this into private key first. So let's try to convert this into private key first, and then we will try to connect. Okay, to generate that, what we can do is we can search for run puttigen. With the help of run puttigen, we can generate private key file. So we have to load, which means already we have a file, right? We have to load it, and we have to choose all files. Now we will get this file. Choose this file, open it, okay, and save private key. Now it will save with that private key extension. Yes, it asks for the path. I'll just give it as private key and save. Okay, let me check that folder once. See, ppk private key got generated now. Okay, and now we need host name, username, and password. Okay, host name is nothing but we can go to our AWS server, and this endpoint is the host name. Just copy this and provide it here. Next, username is our username. While we are created, we given it as demo user, so same user should be provided here. Now let's navigate to advanced. Here again we have to provide a private key. We have to choose the path. So we are in the right path. Choose this as private key and click on OK. I think password is not required since we provide authentication as a private key. Just click on login. Okay, it's trying to connect now. Okay, looks like it's already got connected. Why we are not seeing anything now? Why? Because if we go to our S3, now we are here actually. I mean, in this WinSCP, we are here and we don't have anything here inside this. So that's why we are not seeing anything. And what we can do is we can put any files into this folder, because you know, right, while creating a role, we provided that provisions to upload your files, to put the files into this S3 folder. What I will do is I'll just drop and down into this side from left to right. Ignore this comment, ignore this warning, sorry. And now these files get placed into this one, I mean into our S3 bucket through WinSCP, not through AWS console. We can make sure in this way as well. If we navigate to S3 again, and if I refresh, we should see that file. See, now we placed a file in our S3 bucket without using S3. Without using S3, we moved our moved the folders or files directly through WinSCP application. And now what we can do is, if we try to delete it, click on delete, it says permission denied, because we have not provided that permission yet. Because if I go to this and we have only put list and get, we have not provided the delete option, delete the permission yet. So that's why we can't delete it. So this is how we can provide a option for client to connect our S3 through WinSCP, which means SFTP applications. I hope this concept is clear. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe.